This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's pod. This is a show for the week of April 22nd, 2024. And Phil's coming with a strong shirt game today, as I was commenting before we recorded. He never lets down with the shirts. So if you're listening, you have to go to YouTube and like this video and press play because this shirt is amazing.
And we're not going to describe it. You have to come
absolutely
watch it.
Not. Absolutely not. Right. So this week, Phil, is like another week where we had, some cool topics that we were going to talk about. Some of them are kind of like an esoteric topic, and other ones about Tiana. But then more rumors are posted or confirmation of rumors with some new tidbits in there. So we're going to talk about that as well. And I want to say I promise everybody, Phil, that we're going to play a game today. But I think I've said that in the last 2 weeks. So we still have the game that we're going to play. It's a social media type of game, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I still have the notes. I haven't deleted them, so I'm proud of myself with that. But before we get into what's going on in our Disney World, first I want to remind everybody about our social media accounts, Twitter, Insta, Facebook, and our YouTube channel, all at the DBC Pod. And, of course, a Discord server where tons of fun conversations are going on at any point. I think we were talking a lot about DVC today. We were talking about trust of news outlets, which kind of lends me to my topic of the week. And no negative stuff, I don't think, but we're going to talk about some positive things. And I have a question for the audience. Yeah. It's not our DBC engagement question, but maybe it will be. That being said, Phil, we're getting more and more updates about Tiana's. It's super duper close, and that kind of lends you to your conversation point today. What did you want? What was going on in your Disney head?
Yeah, so the one thing that jumped out at me that, again, more things going on related to Tiana's Bayou Adventure and the opening. They've released some more artwork and stuff of showing it at night when it almost has like Pandora like glowing and stuff like that. I think that one thing that hit me was Magic Kingdom was always kind of cooler at night. But now that you have like the Tron area, which really makes that area great at night, and now you're going to have like the Tiana lighting and stuff, it's going to be even more of a nighttime park, I think.
Well, the darkest part of the park is going to be up by Ariel at this point. Right?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing back there.
Although they'll have Elephants or whatever, the Smellephants will be starting soon.
It'll be very smelly in the back of the
park. But the other big thing that came out was in some of the news that's coming out, and people are starting to post on social media. Travel agents and some other invited guests have been informed that they will have their previews of Tiana's Bayou Adventure on June 9th through the 11th. So sort of early to mid-June. Expectation is that cast members will probably have their previews before that. There's a number of dates that are pretty much starting June 1st or the very beginning of June is blacked out to cast members. And then so we're also thinking, so the big question is, what are they going to do as far as pass holder and DVC previews? We know for things like Guardians and Tron, there was almost like a month of those. However, this isn't a brand new ride with a new ride vehicle that needs tons of testing and stuff like that. So for example, like Frozen Ever After and Mission Breakup more re-themes, they didn't do any previews for. So we don't really know exactly how long those are going to, I think they're going to do some because there's a lot of eyes on this and they'll want to kind of reward pass holders and stuff like this. But I guess that kind of leads me to my one question. It's like, where's our latest prediction for when we think this is going to open? Knowing that travel agents and media, now we know they're going to be there June 9th through the 11th. So official opening is probably going to be past your Memorial Day guest. But
yeah, I was feeling very good about that up until I saw these dates. I don't know. We're going to get a sense of previews probably within the next 4 weeks or so, because if they're going to do cast member, pass holder, DVC previews, Club 33 and all of that, those are coming. I want to say, I can't remember now. Did they do those previews before the media did?
Yeah, time? So that's the expectation is those earlier dates would be for like Golden Oaks and like those tippy top people.
So I mean, like I would think that once the media previews this, it's what day of the week is the 9th through the 11th?
It's a Sunday through Tuesday.
So I would have to say that they opens that Thursday, right? I think they want to open this on a weekday, kind of soft open it, so it's not like a Friday or Saturday morning where everybody's off and everybody just goes to the park that day. So I think they're going to open it on a weekday. Whether if I was going to bet, I would bet the Thursday, which I guess is the 12th then at this point.
13th.
13th. And then Friday at the very worst, I guess. Because at that point, once the press previews it and starts putting the give them like a 24-hour period to get their stories together.
Yeah.
They post it on a Wednesday. Like, or they're going to try to say, oh, well, you've read about this in all the newspapers. You still can't ride the ride yet. Right? I think they're going to want this launched as soon as possible. They won't wait, I don't think, very much longer after that.
Yeah.
I think. So mark me down for the 13th.
Okay. Be interesting to see because I wonder if they do want to try to fit in some previews, but maybe it'll be short. And like the one thing that's good is that obviously the ride is reliable. So they can kind of leave these previews going like all day long. So even if you only did, say, a week of previews, a lot of people could get in on those previews if they really wanted to. I know some people are speculating that the following week would be the 19th would be Juneteenth. So maybe if they open it in conjunction with that holiday. But I definitely think it'll be open by the end of June, which leads to some interesting things because I think I've mentioned about how my family is kind of doing split trips. Well, my wife and oldest daughter have their park days the end of June 26th, 27th, and 28th. So it feels like they're going to be there. You know, if there's a couple weeks of previews, they might miss it, or they could be there for like opening day or something.
Yeah.
So they're a little like antsy on it because part of them are like, well, they're excited about it, but they're like, I don't want to be there for that like chaos of opening day and stuff like that.
You just don't go opening day. I think the last couple of times, like opening day was crazy, but the next day after that was.
That's kind of what I was going to. I mean, they have 3 days. The one nice thing now is you don't have to make they have regular dated tickets, so they don't need to make park reservations, so they can be more flexible. They're not doing a ton of ADRs or anything like that. So yeah, if it's one of the days they could switch, maybe around to do that. So we'll see. But it's looking, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty confident that they'll get to ride, which is kind of exciting. But I hope they don't just miss it.
Do you think they would put it on Juneteenth as a holiday? I don't know if that like cheapens the holiday.
I was thinking about that too because I've seen people mention it both ways. Some people are like, it makes a lot of sense because like what all the efforts they've been putting into and how they've been trying to make it so authentic and having all the people involved in New Orleans and stuff like that. So in some ways it would kind of be fitting, but I'm kind of, part of me is kind of with you that does this kind of, it's such a serious
it's kind of
message of that. Yeah. It's almost a little more, in some ways there's a celebration to it. But yeah, there's a little bit of a reverence associated with as well. So does that kind of, it's not like how Animal Kingdom opened on Earth Day or so, where it kind of like matches, matches a lot of sense. This is, so I don't know. I'm kind of a little torn on that, but hopefully if they do that, they do it right and they don't like you say, they don't cheapen the holiday through it.
Do you think they would? What's your prediction? I forgot to ask you. What is your prediction for opening? If you have to pick a date now.
If I have to pick a date, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe they'll do like 2 weeks of previews. I'm thinking like the 25th.
So you think they're going to have media previews, and then they're going to wait 2 weeks before the public can get in after doing all those previews?
I think they'll start. I mean, that's what they did with all the other rides. They had the media previews for like Tron, and then they had pass holder previews for a month after.
So I know. I would think that they would want to get all that done, have media previews, and boom, launch it. I don't know.
So
who knows?
Well, it'll be interesting. So because it feels like it's kind of in between a retheme because it's so substantial and so much like attention is on it.
Yeah.
Versus a whole new ride. It's kind of like in between. So,
but do they really want to launch? I would think that they would want this ride. If like 4th of July is going to be the busiest week of the summer, even though the summer's not busy at all.
Yeah.
You'd think that they want this done and open and run through its paces just in case something breaks down or whatever. Because we don't know how much testing that they're doing internally with the animatronics. Are they running them just 8 hours a day, 3 hours a day? Are they running them constantly? So maybe they have like a week of operation before that busy holiday week. Because 4th of July is I can't remember. Is it on
Well, even if
this year?
it's Thursday the 4th, so even if they open it Tuesday the 25th, my date, that's almost over a week they would have before 4th of July.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, that makes that. I guess we're putting it within 2 weeks of that
Yeah,
June 11th date.
that's what That's what I think. Yeah.
Should be interesting. I wish we should just make a spreadsheet of all of like tracking like attraction opening dates, when the previews started, and just have that as a historical document. That seems something like Len Testa would have. Just at the ready, at like oh, it's on my phone right here. Here it is.
Yep.
All right, so if you want to get on Discord and finally put your bet down on what day it's going to open, hop on Discord or hit us up on Twitter or something else like that with your predictions. We'd appreciate it, and we'll read them out loud if they're good ones. If you agree with us, we'll just say that you agreed because we're super smart people. Couple of things I wanted to talk about this week. I got a handful of things. So I wanted to ask everybody, like, what sources of news of the parks do you trust now, right? Because we went through, if you recall, we went through, I don't know, from 2014, 15, 16 with the, maybe go a little bit farther back with the opening and announcements of New Fantasyland that led into Pandora, that led into Toy Story Land, that led into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, that led into Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, that led into Epcot's reformation, that all got stopped with COVID, and then park stuff got basically stopped and finally kind of cleaned up and stuff like that. The Remy's in there too. I forgot about Remy. But since then, I think a lot of the news sites have been scrambling for things to do, essentially. Before, there's plenty of news to talk about, commenting, just giving people friendly updates about when the next free dining was going on. Like it was cyclical for years and years and years. And I think COVID changed a lot with what a lot of people are doing. There wasn't a lot of news to report on other than negative news. And Phil, let me know if you agree with me on this trend. It seemed to me all like the top, I don't know, YouTubers or podcasters, whatever, they were struggling for content between like mid 2020 through even up to maybe last year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think, there were pockets of topics, like when Genie Plus started, that was a big thing and stuff like that. So there'd be like these kind of highs and lows, but there are definitely a lot of lulls.
And not just lulls in news, but I think the attitude of the people that it became, I think if you look back, we've seen a rapid rise of clickbait type material versus like genuinely good, like helping guide type of material. And this is one of the things that I think we need to be careful of, because we're about to kick off an era. Hopefully it's an era and longer than just a moment, an era of massive growth at Disney World, right? Just domestic parks, but hopefully mostly in Disney World, which was what we care about. We're going to talk about rumors about Animal Kingdom. We've been talking about rumors of Hollywood Studios and maybe some Epcot stuff, and definitely Magic Kingdom beyond Big Thunder Mountain. And it's no longer going to be blue sky. It's all going to be like real stuff, right? We're going to get hit every 2 years at D23, updates at Destination D in Florida. And I think people have to be really careful about where they get their news from now, because there's a lot more content creators out there, Phil. There's more people streaming in the parks every day. There's a lot more people acting like they are in positions of authority and knowledge, when they might be saying, oh, this is definitely happening, and it's just like a cast member that's a frontline cast member that they've known for 10 years, and they definitely heard something from upper management who they know nothing whatsoever at that level. And I think you have to be very careful. I have a list of some people here, Phil. I don't know how much you want me to kind of name names at this point, whatever. But suffice to say, as much as we love Len Testa and Jim Hill, they are not in the rumor game. They hint at things without ever mentioning anything.
Yeah, they try to talk around stuff. And the one thing that I think they're guilty is probably not the right word, because I don't want it to be negative, but I think a lot of people do is they hear things that are legitimately heard from people. But I think there's so many things that get discussed within Disney.
Yeah.
Like, it got discussed along with 20 other things, and that doesn't mean it's so sometimes they hint at stuff. Sometimes they mix things together or hear things. So I think they try not to like stoke the rumor thing and kind of like you hear from a bus driver stuff. But also I think just because they hear it doesn't mean it's definitely happening or anything like that. But I think a lot of people are a little guilty of that. They're like, oh no, I heard that. Well, yeah, you probably did hear it. I'm not saying you just made it up, but that doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen because Disney talks about a million things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to name one YouTube channel. Phil, do you mind if I name one?
Sure.
So Mickey Views is one that frustrates me quite a bit. The content creator has gotten more and more clickbaity over the last couple of years, and they've been right on some things, but I think they take more shots in the dark at this point now. And I don't know any of this person's sources. They might be legitimate sources. They might not be. I don't know. I'm not accusing this person of lying or being deceitful. He's probably reporting what he's heard, right?
Yeah.
However, there's a lot of different people that you can know that are like maybe they're in marketing or an art department, and somebody asks somebody in the art department to make a picture of, Snow White and Animal Kingdom just so they can see what that looks like. But to that person, they're making, art for that specific ride, but maybe they're asking 10 different artists for 10 different things just so they can put them up on like a whiteboard somewhere type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that stuff might get reported in different parts of, the vlogosphere or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Just be careful of people, listen to like bus drivers and stuff like that. And then there's another category of vloggers that I enjoy watching from time to time. And it's the folks like at Disney Food Blog, All Ears, all the different various like park streamers like Resort TV 1 and stuff like that. Those folks aren't in the rumor game whatsoever. They might hear things like you might hear from like talking to some friends, hanging out at the Emporium type of thing when they're kind of streaming, right? They're not talking to probably, I don't think they're talking to Imagineers or people in Burbank and stuff like that. So don't get your rumors for there. Now, where you can get some really interesting rumors is one forum that you don't go to because it drives you absolutely batty. Is www.magic.com. There's a collection of, I wouldn't even call them insiders, people that are in the business that know people and have conversations. And I want to bring up one list that came out this morning that's propagated over Reddit and a lot of other forums and social media. And it's linked in Discord if you want to go find it. I'm just not going to name somebody's name on a podcast, but I'm going to go through the list, Phil. And you tell me, I'm going to go through the list and tell me if we've heard this, if there's anything different, or what you take from this. Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing he says was he's only talking about Animal Kingdom Animal Kingdom Park.
Yep.
It has been approved, it's been funded, and it's moving forward, which I don't think surprises either of us, Phil, right?
No, I mean they've already started the prep site and stuff like that. Like we know it might not be shovels in the ground of the final spot. There's actual work going on. So yeah,
they're getting ready for it. So first line item is conversion of Dinosaur to Indy with a new storyline that will tie into Animal Kingdom. Is that something you expected? I know with Indy, it's fine. But what about the storyline? I
definitely have heard through various things that it's a new storyline. It's not just a clone of the one from Disneyland. And what I've heard is it's going to be more like Raiders of the Lost Ark era timeline.
Yes.
That has specific ties to Animal Kingdom. I haven't heard, but obviously that makes sense. You can make any storyline kind of have something to do with animals, and it's going to be, in this equatorial Americas type thing. So it makes sense that it's going to have something connection to that.
Even on Len Testa and Jim Hill's show, they've mentioned that they're going with like the good Indy and not like Crystal Skull or Dial of Destiny Indy, right? They learned their lesson from Galaxy's Edge, where it's not like, let's go with the classics that everybody loves, right?
Versus elder abuse.
Yeah, exactly. That's one way of putting it for sure. Next one is Encanto Boat Ride. Nothing firm on the story, assuming the animal angle that we played up via Antonio. So what was your first takeaway that my eyes went big when I read this?
I'm assuming it's Boat Ride because I hadn't heard that specifically. Now, we had seen the concept art when it was going to be Moana. So people have seen a boat ride in that spot. So I don't know if this is putting two things together or if it is going to be a Moana Encanto boat ride. That'd be interesting because you don't really... I mean, there was some water in the movie, but you don't really associate it with boat travel.
Nope.
But it could just be like a lot of, like Frozen Ever After is a boat ride. Like there's not really that much boats in Frozen, right? So it could just be that's the vehicle you're using. I know a lot of people were probably more hoping that it was going to be an Omnimover type Mystic Manor type ride that would fit in with the house coming to life. But we'll see. I'm open to it. As long as it's a dark ride of some sort, because that's something missing from Animal Kingdom, I'll be okay with it. So if it's a boat ride, that's cool. But that aspect is something I hadn't heard before.
No, I mean, that was definitely new to me. I think it's definitely a dark ride. I don't think anybody's disputing that at this point. Yeah. I just hope that it's not like a simple boat ride. You get on the boat and it's just kind of you go through something and it's just like a book report on either side that you're going through, like a Navi River, right? I hope that they incorporate some tricks or some novelty to a boat just kind of going through a track of some sort. I hope it's something new. And I think it'll be cool. I just don't know what the story is going to be like. But do you think they're gonna have any popular music on this attraction, or do you think it's going to be a lot of new stuff?
I think it'll be the popular music. I mean, maybe they'll have a new song or something like that. But I think it'll be the music from that is very popular. So I think I'd be surprised if it's not, especially just like the theming and the background music and stuff. Like it doesn't even have to be the key songs. Like couple of the songs are more kind of popish or whatever. I think it'll be more the kind of fit the style, the more culturally appropriate type music from it.
So the next one was Coco inspired carousel, roughly on the Boneyard site, so like right there by the entrance. Should be visually stunning in a Mexican folk art style. Will all add nice kinesis to the area. That's something that we've always said that belongs in the park. Some of the kinetic movement, making the parks feel more alive rather than static. I think we were all expecting this. Even the pictures have the carousel kind of right.
Yeah, the only thing that jumped out at me because it said in the Boneyard site, I always thought the carousel or spinner type ride was going to be where Triceratops Spin is now, and then the Boneyard could potentially stay.
I don't think the Boneyard was ever going to stay. I'm going to look at a map of Animal Kingdom if I can get Google Maps working. I can't fast enough, but I don't think it's like super. They're relatively close, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it's all relatively close in there. I just thought when people were looking at the concept art and overlaying things, it seemed to line up with the spinner attraction being where, or the carousel being where Triceratops Spin is.
Yeah, so I mean they're two distinct areas. Like Boneyard's right by the entrance.
Yeah,
I always forget how much space there is between the two. There's some distance. There's going to be a retheme and expansion of Restaurantsaurus, expecting somewhat Americanized take on Mexican and Central American fare. Did you have any distinct takeaway on that one? Oh, we forgot. Well,
yeah, the one above it, I want to make sure we mentioned that they're going to have small animal habitats scattered throughout, gardens, and that they kind of bridge the Encanto facade to the town square. I'm maybe all those specifics, but I have definitely heard that animals are going to be a part of this. This isn't just IP and rides and stuff like this. It's going to be like most of the other areas within Animal Kingdom and have animal, where you can see animals and habitats and stuff like that was definitely going to be part of it, which is great. And it makes sense because a lot of the animals, I think, from that area are, there's a number of smaller ones, birds, reptiles, stuff like that you don't need to have access to, like the savannah and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be more like the, was it like the big catfish exhibit and the flamingos?
Yeah,
and,
like kind of in that oasis area that they have when you come in. Yeah,
and I think that's gonna be great. Like it's just they're not just plopping down attractions. They're kind of going in and putting some live entertainment in there too, which is great. It's interesting that you've heard that. I've not heard that other than like speculation and like hopeful thinking that they're going to put animals in there.
Yeah, it was actually more recently that's come up more from being reported. But I think there's kind of been rumblings of it ever since they announced that it was going to be this equatorial tropical Americas, like that was going to be the focus, and then they were putting IP into it. It was kind of rumblings about them. Okay, well, they'll fit the animals into
that to me that's expected if they were going to do it the right way, and that shows me that they're actually spending money to do it the right way rather than just plopping something.
Absolutely, yep. So as for Restaurantsaurus, it'll be interesting what they do in there. That's a really good restaurant for like picky eaters, like, because there's a lot of really good food in Animal Kingdom, but a lot of it can be a little bit more adventurous. There's not a lot of places to get like burgers and chicken fingers and stuff like that.
Sure.
So, you know, I'm assuming they'll still have that, and if they add some more Mexican and Central American fare, that'll be great. I just know some people kind of count on Restaurantosaurus for like food their kids will eat and stuff.
The one thing that like really interested me is that it's just not they're converting it to something else. It's an expansion of it. What do you think that means expansion wise? Is this going to be, I don't think they're going to put more character dining, right? There's already one in the park.
No.
But do you think they just want to make the building bigger just to have a different flair, or are they going to add more seats? What
I think it'll be more just make it bigger and maybe like different zones or something. So maybe you have like one counter that's more the American food and one's kind of other type. I think I know they have a bar in that area, but maybe they'll make more of like a full on lounge, almost like you know, like that type of a thing, more of a, so you have kind of more of the quick service restaurant, but then another kind of loungy area, something like that. But I think it'll be more just expanding on what's there versus like something totally different.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it more of a functional expansion or more artistic expansion? That's what I'm curious about. Like, if they're adding more capacity for food, or they're just expanding it to make it look prettier. And
I think a little of both. I think maybe. You know, especially if this area is going to be more popular, you could use I mean, I know they have a couple other stands like Trilobites and stuff like that, but Restaurantosaurus was like kind of like the one big place to eat, kind of in that whole side of the park almost.
Yeah, no, 100%. The next three are transitions of the land will happen at the current Dinoland Bridge to the west, and after the Theater of the Wild to the east. No operational impacts to the Nemo show. Access to the Theater of the Wild and the Southern Amphitheater will remain unobstructed. So basically, they're going to make sure the traffic can flow on that side of the park.
Yeah, no, access to that area in general is a big thing, because for corporate events, there's an entrance that comes right by Dinosaur, so you don't have to go through the main part of the park. So keeping all that stuff functional is very key for the group that is responsible for corporate events, which brings in a lot of money for Disney.
Need that money. The last one is the work timeline will be staggered, but and he says he's still working on clarity for this, but early information suggested that start of offstage first in the old Primeval World site, keeping Dinosaur open for the first phase of construction. So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think they're going to keep Dinosaur open as long as they can, start work on everything else, and then finally take it down. And we were talking about how do they open? Are they opening up in phases? And I think a couple posts down from this, it's kind of hinted at that they would like to open everything all at once as a grand reveal, which I think makes sense.
Yeah. I know I was trying to think about capacity and how they could get something up, and, you know, can there be something sooner, that sort of thing. But the way you talked about it, I think it makes a lot of sense for it to be more of a grand opening for the whole area. So it's more of a staggered close and then one big opening, not a staggered opening.
I mean, from a marketing point of view, I think it makes sense. In like 2026, come visit the new Animal Kingdom land, and not like come visit Animal Kingdom with more construction walls, because Disney's known for their construction walls, right? Because I think they want to get rid of the idea that, you know, we're walking through another park with construction walls that you have to walk through again. Like, I think they had enough nightmares of walking through Epcot to get to where you need with construction walls. And if they just,
I agree. And as great as like Indy is and stuff like that, it's not, you know, it's not like a mini land or like bringing in some big new Star Wars thing or something like that. It's
Indy's a cornerstone franchise inside of Lucasfilm, right? So, I mean, I think it deserves more than like, it is now open. Please walk through this mile of like narrow, like they want a nice thing to do it, I think. So those were all the latest rumors or updated rumors. And I think as we get closer to D23 and we'll do our normal prediction show and stuff like that, like we did 2 years ago. But I think what's going to be fun, Phil, is we're going to list all the stuff that they have announced, and blue skied, assuming there's more blue sky stuff. And I think a game that we have to play is when will shovels hit the ground for each one of these projects? Like, predict when it starts. And I suspect that they're going to happen sooner rather than later. That's just
and also how specific they get to at D23. Like, are they going to be like, here's the things we're doing, or is it going to be, oh, and this is opening this year, and this is opening that year, and that sort of thing.
I don't think they'll have opening dates because I don't think everything's permitted yet. So I don't think they're going to be able to do that. But I think it's like they might have. I don't think they'll have opening year, but like construction will begin in 2025, or I think there'll be the start of a project and not like an opening. I think at the next D23 in 2 years from now, we'll get like opening in 2026 because I'm assuming it's the end of 2025 where all this stuff can wrapped up. One other thing I wanted to talk about, Phil, I wanted to get your sense because I've been kind of struggling with this in my content consumption for Disney World, right? Mm-hmm. I used to watch videos up the wazoo on YouTube and just background noise or watching podcasts or watching streamers. And this is probably a me thing, but I want to see how prevalent this is out in the community. I've really pared down my Disney content consumption. And it's not because I'm tired of it and I want to watch somebody else. It's just the content for me is just not, I don't want to say engaging. It seems flat, right? And I'm trying to think why this is because I used to watch Disney Food Blog quite a bit. I watched All Ears when Molly was there. I've watched Mammoth Club when she has some Disney World content and she's not traveling all over the world doing some crazy things. And there's a lot of other podcasts I stopped listening to. I still basically listen to. We do this show on a weekly basis, and I make sure I listen to Len Testa's show. And I'm still on social media watching, but content itself. My main hope is that no, I haven't turned into a curmudgeon, and it's not me. But I want to see if I might have maybe a thread of an idea here on why it's I've lost interest. So we've been watching content. This is all because of post-COVID, right? So post-COVID, this is when everything happened. We mentioned earlier, before we got to the rumors, that content creators have changed. It's more clickbaity. They've had to try different things to engage the audience and grow their audience. And because Disney World itself has been incredibly static and stagnant for 4 years, minus Tron opening and Guardians of the Galaxy opening, maybe back to like Remy, right? And stuff like that. There's not much to talk about for being excited. There's no new strategies. There's plenty of Genie Plus strategies, but that also includes you spending $150 for your family for a day, which is kind of like no one wants to be reminded of that at all. So Phil, do you think, first of all, let me ask you this. Have you consumed less Disney-related content, randomly, whatever you like to watch, over the last couple of years, or has it remained steady?
It's probably ticked down a little bit. I would say it's also what I watch has become more focused. It's a lot less of kind of general kind of news and overviews and stuff like that and that sort of thing. And it's much more tailored. I still watch a lot of different dining reviews. Mm-hmm. I find those interesting. I feel like there's a couple newer folks doing that. So it's like kind of fresh perspectives and they still seem excited about doing it. And then obviously if I have a trip coming up, then I get a little bit more into like,
that doesn't count.
That's a little bit different, but yeah, probably a little bit less of the general kind of updates and news and stuff and a little bit more focused.
Yeah. I'm kind of with there too. I think with potentially new deals coming by down the road, new things being added to the parks, there might be a general more excitement with wanting to watch what the latest restaurants are, the latest tips and tricks of getting around the new Magic Kingdom, exploring it with people. Maybe I just need to find more different content creators that don't seem like this is the 10th time they've done a review of like, the Tap House or something else like that. So maybe I need to hit you up with some ideas. Maybe you guys out there know people that are just starting out that make good content. Please share them with us. We want to promote them here because how many times can you watch the lovely ladies on allears.net, run around the parks doing a scavenger hunt or something else like that? So yeah, maybe it's just me. Maybe I need to find new content to watch, but the algorithm on YouTube is not giving it.
Yeah. So I agree with that. Like I said, there's some dining folks that are newer that I like. And it does feel like when Epcot, the center of Epcot opened, like people were excited about that. I thought there was a lot of good content that came out of there.
Fair.
But yeah, it kind of either needs to be something new or new people with a new take or something.
I mean, I still love all the old people, but like, I think people got so used to having to search for things to write about to keep the algorithm going on their websites. Now that's become part of what they do. It's like, let's use an old show that we both of us used to watch all the time, The Diz. Like they had a formulaic show that's been not doing as good recently because it's like, here's the news, here's some like random stuff that we talked about, and that was it, right? And they tried doing some new content where they had one of their characters, one of the people on the show. They would go shopping with Rhino, right? They would go, I was engaged in that because he's a fun person and he's looking at all the new stuff that's in the shops. But I typically hate all merch content. Like, I'm not spending $60 on this.
Yeah.
Please don't write an article about $100 purses that are just coming out. But like, for whatever reason, him walking through a shop for 20 minutes talking about things was entertaining to me. So I think what a lot of content creators need to go find a different way to entertain people in the parks. I think maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just going crazy, which I think.
Well, I think it's also we've been doing it for a while now. It's like it used to be kind of new, and there were only a handful of people doing, or like big ones at least. And after watching videos for 5 years or whatever, it's like you need something new to keep it fresh. So other people that are maybe newer to Disney are still finding these things entertaining.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, like all content is great content when it's new and you're excited about your first trip to Disney World. But I'm talking about people that have been like, I've been watching and consuming Disney World content for almost a decade now, like routinely since like 2015, I guess. So it's been a while, and maybe it's just getting older, Phil. We're just getting older, I guess. All right, so enough of me rambling about my woes of Disney content on YouTube. Let's play a game. We haven't played a game in quite a while.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so if you don't remember, Phil, here's a game that I've seen on social media. Like this is like a TikTok, YouTube Shorts type of game. Basically, what I'm going to do is I have 3 lists. There's 5 things on each list. You have to rank them 1 through 5. 1 being the best, 5 being the least favorite, I guess. Not the worst, but least favorite. But you don't know what the 5 things are, so you have to guess ahead of time. So if I give you if I give 4, like kind of, essentially you might get stuck ranking something really good last, right?
Yeah.
Just because I'm trying to trick you. I'm not doing that purposefully, but it might happen. I don't know. So bear with me. Okay, so I'm going to run down the list. You have to rank each one of these rides. These are Magic Kingdom top 5 rides. Okay? I'm going to give you 5 of them, and you have to tell me on a 1 through 5 which one they rank, right? Obviously, you can't repeat numbers. The first one, Peter Pan.
Ooh. So Peter Pan is definitely not one of my favorites, but it is a classic. So it's going to be lower in my list. I'm hesitant to put the first one at number 5 though, because what else might be coming?
No.
I will put it at number 4.
4. Good. Haunted Mansion.
Ooh. See, this could be a top one.
I know.
So do I put it there and not risk having something? I'll actually put that number 1.
Oop, number 1. Dumbo.
I will put that as number 5.
Number 5. Tron.
So
you have spots 2 and 3 left.
2 and 3. I will put Tron at number 3.
All right. And the last one is People Mover.
Well, I guess that's number 2.
That has to be number 2. Do you like your rankings? Here they are. Haunted Mansion, People Mover, Tron, Peter Pan, and Dumbo. Are you happy with that, Phil?
I'm happy with that.
You did a very good job with that. I did not trick you on that one.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Next one is same, but for Hollywood Studios.
Okay.
Are you ready, Phil?
Sure.
Slinky Dog Dash.
Ooh. I will put that number 2.
Number 2. The Beauty and the Beast live stage show.
I'm scared that you're going to find something even worse than that, but I will put that number 5. I can't imagine.
Number 5, the Frozen sing-along.
Ooh, I do enjoy that, but there's obviously better things there.
Well, One, 3, and 4 left.
I'll put that 4.
4. This is gonna be great. Rise of the Resistance.
So I put that 1 or 3. It depends on what the last one is. I'll put it at number 1.
The last one is the Disney Junior Dance Party.
I guess that's number 3. I'm glad. Well, I am glad I put Rise first.
Ooh, I was like, oh, yes, here we go. Okay, so go back on the list. We have Rise of the Resistance, Slinky Dog Dash, the Disney Junior Dance Party, Frozen Sing Along, and the Beauty and the Beast live stage show. I thought that was pretty. I was trying to think of ones that weren't like I wanted to give you like 2 obviously good rides, but then like all the like different shows and see how they fold out. I think that was pretty good.
Actually,
all right.
Wound up okay. I think if I knew everything ahead, I probably would have flip flopped Frozen and the Disney Junior. But other than that, I think it worked out okay.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Okay, last one is favorite countries at Epcot, because you knew I had to give you an Epcot.
Yeah, for sure.
First one, ranking countries that you like. First one is Mexico.
Ooh. I mean, I'm putting that number 1.
Okay. Starting on the other side in Canada.
Ooh. Go number 4.
4. Japan.
Ooh, that's up there. Is there one I like better? I will go 3.
3. France.
I'll go 2.
I think you're gonna be like this, and the last one will be number 5, which I have as Morocco.
Yeah,
you did pretty good here. So we're gonna go Mexico, France, Japan, Canada, and Morocco. And I think if you ask me just listing these, I think I would order them exactly this way.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that would have probably put Morocco ahead of Canada is if the restaurant was open.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Spice Road Table, and I love wandering behind there, but you can also wander in Canada, and they have their main restaurant opens. Those are pretty close, so I could argue either way.
I think you did a pretty good job. Okay, so that's it. I only did 3 of them.
Okay.
I didn't want to torture the audience. I wanted to torture you, but not the audience of us doing more than 3 of these. So I think that was fun. And maybe we could kind of tuck that away and do that again sometime. I wanted to talk about DBC engagement from last week. That one was, what other Hollywood themes would you like to see represented at Hollywood Studios? Because if you remember last week, we were talking about a rumor that they're going to be probably putting something over there, most likely in an extension of the animation courtyard. So Phil, why don't you go over what the community is talking about?
So Lumpy first suggested the two IP he thought of was a Monsters Inc. land, and then also an Incredibles land, especially Syndrome's Island. The only thing though, and then he goes on and on about how it would be so great at Disney California Adventure. So I think he's like, these would be cool there, but it'd be even better here. It's like, okay, well, let's think about.
That was not the question.
That was not the question.
He's a West Coast guy, though.
Yeah. So TL Madden said no real original ideas, but did like how it was laid out with the old Hollywood themes at the beginning. He said he would really like to take the animation courtyard and make it like a full portal into like a toon area. He was thinking about starting Roger Rabbit. I mean, Roger Rabbit's great IP. It's just not super current. I can't imagine them doing anything with that. As awesome as that could be.
I do not see them putting Jessica Rabbit anywhere in Hollywood Studios in this day and age anyway.
Yeah. And then his other idea was Avengers Campus, which obviously has a lot of challenges being east of the Mississippi, but I do still think there's probably a lot of opportunities for kind of that to be the superhero area of the park.
I mean, that would be like something that they would, if they got the rights to be able to do that. I mean, they would greenlight that in like 10 seconds. Like,
yeah,
I don't see any duration where that's like, okay, let's spend $4 billion and make event or Marvel Land at Hollywood Studios. That would be primo, but they are handcuffed.
Yep. Herdamaniac said continue to build on the Tower Tennis 1920s theme and lean more into the eerie side of things, which I think are things that we've talked about before, but kind of making it more like kind of during Prohibition and having speakeasies and stuff, like kind of just like really fill out and flush out that area.
I mean, like I've said before, about a month ago or so, that I would love to have a spooky area, but I've always been saying like I think this park should be IP centric lands, like basically the combat, like Hollywood Studios was in a response to Universal Orlando Studios, right? So it just makes sense if they just copied what Epic Universe is doing is Portals to Worlds. They already got 2. It wouldn't be surprised me any additions is going to be like an IP related themed land, which kind of knocks out like the 1920s Hollywood theme, because that's not an IP centric. It's a great themed area. I mean, I would love to see that, but I don't think that matches. And the only other ones that we saw were like Monsters Inc. and Incredibles, but I think those are so long dead IP that, Monsters Inc. might have some relevance because they still sell a lot of merch, but they don't sell a lot. I don't see incredible stuff all over the place anymore.
No, I mean, they had the new movie, or not that new anymore, but it did pretty well. And it is a really cool theme and stuff like that. I think it could make for a cool land. And if it kind of is more like 50s or 60s, so you could almost like progress through the decades through the park. But I don't know if they could do a whole land out of it.
I mean, like I think it would be amazing. I just don't think Disney's going to invest $2 billion in an Incredibles land with an IP that they're not going to be able to milk with more movies and TV shows and merch and stuff.
I mean, I think I could see it. It would be kind of cool if they did a portal into like a Pixar world where the Incredibles were one of them. I don't know if they would do that, having the Pixar characters like intermingle and stuff like that.
I mean, I could see Disney doing that because they make terrible choices and short-sighted choices. Like a short-sighted choice would be a Pixar land because they can shove a bunch of IP in there and it'll be great. But long-term for Hollywood Studios itself, or unless they rename it, that's another rumor that they might rename it like they're doing in Paris, is the long-term goal should be IP-centric lands. So you could, because Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, that type of thing, keep carrying that on. I think that'd be great.
Yep. And I did want to, Ryan W. also mentioned wanting to see an animation courtyard, but like kind of built out and more around kids animation. The one thing I think is good is I do think at least one of these lands needs to be focused more on stuff that younger kids are into, because there's so many like thrill rides and stuff with height restrictions and stuff like that. So more play areas and everybody rides and stuff like that. I'm not sure if that means you have to go all the way down to like Disney Junior stuff, but you kind of have the Toy Story stuff, but that's kind of about it, that park.
Yeah, no, I think if they added like 2 dark rides and a really cool playground type of thing, that might be a really good addition. Whatever IP they use, who knows? But I think 2 cool rides like that. Everybody's asking for like why they keep putting boat rides in Animal Kingdom, and then the Moana flume ride that's rumored for Adventureland, and then there's a Lion King boat ride or flume ride rumored again. But Hollywood Studios, no water for you, no water
for you.
So we'll see. I mean, I don't have an answer for any of these things. I think we've answered this quite a bit. And
obviously, like you said, if they could do an Avengers campus, that would obviously be the call to, and would fit perfectly with having the other properties. But I don't think they're going to do a Marvel without the Avengers.
I mean, I can see them doing a Marvel without the Avengers, but the only other thing would be like Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Loki, and that type of like the multiverse type of characters. But they can't use them either. Yeah. So. I don't know. Maybe in the years to come when Avengers comes back. So I think everybody loves the Avengers, but I don't think there's when's the next Avengers movie? Like 5 years from now or something else like that.
2026 or 7.
We'll see. I think the only other thing that I would love to see is because I don't think the IP is always going to be alive is like an Indiana Jones land. People have been talking about that also. I mean, they could do something like that. So I think that would be incredibly popular but they're building something in Animal Kingdom.
I can't imagine them doing that in Animal Kingdom and here too. I mean, the one big property, and Len Testa kind of hinted at this on the show today, was kind of one of those like, but I can't talk about it now, was just hinting at how everywhere around the world is getting a Frozen land except for the stateside parks, and kind of watch this space type thing. So I don't know if a whole Frozen land in Hollywood Studios would fit, but I think a Frozen land's coming somewhere, either Florida or California at some point.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like part of the Disneyland Forever type of stuff. Yeah. And we might learn more blue sky for Disneyland Forever at D23 once it all gets approved by the local town or county. Yeah. I could totally see Frozen in Hollywood Studios. I mean, Frozen and Ever After. The sing-along is fun. I enjoy it. The kids get kind of bored of it. But the Frozen ride in Epcot is a disservice to a franchise that's pulled multiple $1 billion. Yeah.
I have to say, though, I've been watching, it was just released either today or yesterday, but Ordinary Adventures they were in Hong Kong, and they had a whole video about the Frozen land there. And the rides there aren't anything special. They literally have the Frozen Ever After ride, and then a small coaster that's like a shorter version of Mine Train. So the rides aren't anything great, but just being part of this whole land where they have like the characters walking around and like musicians and all the food and like it elevates it so much more than what we have like in Epcot and stuff like that. So I think like a whole well-themed land can really, the total is more than the sum of the parts, I think.
Do you think we'll find out more substantial rumors to this area before the new Frozen movies come out? Or are they waiting for the new Frozen movies to greenlight a Frozen?
Yeah, I think this is, we kind of talked about this a little before. I think this is the area that they're going to tease us with some blue sky stuff at D23, but it's going to be at least a year. And then maybe the next one, it's like, oh, well, we've heard, kind of it's evolved and now it's this. And maybe it is, depending on, there are a lot of sequels coming out now. Frozen's one of them, but there's more Toy Story. There's Inside Out 2's coming out. So there's these things that they're going to find out in the next couple of years what are viable ongoing franchises for sure.
Well, you got Inside Out 2 that's been part of the Imagination Pavilion before. And where did she move? She moved somewhere. Joy.
Oh yeah.
She moved somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. She's not in the Imagination, or she will be not in the Imagination, whatever it might be. But that would be a perfect fit for like an Epcot Imagination Pavilion redo. But you've got Figment teased for something, a movie, a show, or whatever. Which
there's a big pavilion though. I mean, there's the ride, but there's more in that pavilion too. So there's room for a couple.
Sure.
there.
But I'm talking about like attraction based type of stuff. Like, so you've got Inside Out. I don't see them building a land out of Inside Out 2. That's part of like a greater theme of something like Imagination Pavilion. I don't see them doing more Toy Story unless they're building a new ride back there somehow. I don't see them doing more Star Wars. I see them trying to fix Galaxy's Edge a little bit by finally adding maybe some more characters on the East Coast rather than on the West Coast every single time you see an update. Anyway, we'll see. I think we'll get hints or rumors. If we don't get blue sky, I think we'll hear something by D23. Once they start getting excited and pushing out what they're definitely greenlighting, I think that another round of rumors are going to start percolating, stuff like that. The Imagineers.
Yeah, once you find out what didn't make the cut for Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom, it's like, okay, well, this is on the docket now.
It's going to be really fun predicting what the next rumors are going to be. Like we have all these things floating around. What's the next big thing that we're going to hear? It's going to be exciting to be a Disney.
Or Disney could just suck it up and buy out Bluey and make a Bluey land.
I don't think they would ever sell out.
No, I don't think
those
so.
creators would ever sell.
Nope.
I think they have like artistic integrity. Like this.
Yeah, well, they've said once the kids are too old to do like their voices changed, they're done. They're not recasting and stuff like that.
Which you gotta respect that kind of integrity, right? They're not milking it for what it's worth, even though they probably made plenty of money doing it.
I think that.
I think they're good.
I'm not worried about them.
Neither am I. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. But so next week's DBC engagement is going to be focused on the content. What kind of Walt Disney World content do you consume on a daily basis, and what do you want more of? So, are you doing the same old the last 5 years? Are you doing it just because it's what you do and you haven't changed? Do you still actively enjoy it? Look forward to doing it every single day, that sort of thing. And maybe you're missing something. Can you verbalize what kind of content you would love to see? Or share some new guys new guys or gals out there that haven't heard before, but you just started watching, and then we'll promote some of those new content creators and kind of share that. But I want to start seeing new faces, hearing new voices when it comes to Disney World, because I think a lot of us get stuck in a rut, and you start producing the same content you did a year ago, and then you kind of sound like you're just going through the paces again, that type of thing. So it's always for us, Phil. We don't live down there, so we're either just doing a month's worth of trip reports before we get back into the routine of doing our show. And after a month or two of doing our show, somebody's going on a Disney World vacation again. It's about trip planning at that point, which kind of like allows us to get excited and then sad that we're not there anymore, and then excited again. So the cycle's a bit bigger. Like you said, you watch stuff when a trip is approaching to get going. So anyway, what kind of stuff are you guys watching and listening? What's new? What's old? Or have you stopped watching a lot of stuff, and why? We want to kind of hear. And maybe it's some of the stuff that we can do that we can bring that we haven't thought of before. So yeah, share what you're watching and listening to. We would really appreciate it. That being said, everybody, thank you for watching and listening. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and if you're on iTunes, leave a comment. All the good fun stuff. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.